Hi there, welcome to this channel. I want you to be rich. Today we're going to talk about another index that tracks the overall performance of the economy. That is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Hi, my name is Lee. I teach about money, personal finance, and investment. So what is the Dow Jones Industrial Average? The Dow Jones Industrial Average, also commonly known as the Dow, as you can hear. If you turn on the news, they say the Dow is up 20 points, the Dow is up 100 points, the Dow is up, So Dow Jones Industrial Average is an index that measures the overall performance of the market by taking the performance of 30 major companies, and these 30 major companies have changed over time, to measure the overall performance of the market, which in turn kind of correlate to the economy. And we know that the Dow Jones Industrial Average was founded by journalist Charles Dow and his partner Edward Jones. That's why it's called the Dow Jones in 1896. So it's a very long-standing index, and it's one of the strengths. Well, the index doesn't always track the economy, and we have seen it recently, but often than not, it reflects the overall economy. For example, Walgreens, that's around the corner, I have it next to my neighborhood. It's actually in the index, and when Walgreens is doing well, because people go to Walgreens to buy, things, the general economy should be doing well as well. And they track the major US industry. As of 2022, 30 companies called the blue chip companies makes up the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the short form is called DJIA, so they call it Dow 30 as well. And how is the Dow calculated? The Dow is calculated by adding, it's very simple, and maybe a lot of people like Dow Jones Industrial Average because of that. The Dow is calculated simply by adding the prices of 30 companies, and these are 30 major companies, and they cover 9 industries. So a lot of times the things that we buy and use day to day are inside the Dow Jones. Industries are: number 1, industrials; number 2, financials; number 3, consumer services; number 4, technology; number 5, healthcare; number 6, consumer goods; number 7, energy; number 8, basic materials; and last of all, telecommunications. So let's give you some examples of some of the companies that we are familiar with. So McDonald's, I eat McDonald's once a week. McDonald's is inside the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It represents like, for example, the food that we eat and stuff. Number 2 is Visa. Whenever you go to Starbucks or Walgreens and you swipe a card, Visa get a fee, and it is a very good gauge of the overall economy. And American Express as well, we swipe our cards. The other one is 3M. So whenever you buy a sticky hook to put it on your wall, there is 3M. Nike, we all liked our Nike shoes. Since working from home, more and more of us have changed our shoe cabinet into more Nikes. The other one is Coca-Cola. It's a very popular soda. And then Walgreens. Something about Walgreens is that it replaced General Electric. So how the Dow Jones Industrial Average measure and take up all these major companies is that you gotta be a company that represents the overall industry, and you gotta be doing well, and you gotta be tracking the economy. So we know that General Electric has been doing not so good for some time. So the committee of Dow Jones Industrial Average decided to take General Electric out and put Walgreens in. I mean, you could understand why Walgreens is everywhere. It is in fact an indicator of the general economy and the industry. A little bit expensive, but it's at the corner, and it's very convenient. So let's cover what are the pros and cons of Dow Jones Industrial Average. A lot of people criticize the Dow Jones Industrial Average for what it doesn't have, and some people appreciate its simplicity. And when you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you're actually comparing it with other indices such as the S&P 500 that tracks 500 companies, and also the Nasdaq Composite. So these are the two indices that compares the overall economy. And let's start with the positive of Dow Jones Industrial Average. For me, I find it a very convenient benchmark. It's very easy to understand. There's only 30 companies. It's not complicated, and the way they calculate it is very easy. Just take all the share prices, add them up. So its simplicity, it's something that people appreciate and they could easily understand it. But it's also a negative that people criticize it for. And don't forget that Dow Jones started in 1896. That's way back, and it allows you to have historical performance comparison because it has at least 120 years of history. So Dow Jones Industrial Average allows you to compare year-to-year performance overall, and they keep it very simple. Now let's go to the cons, the negatives, and what some investors feel that the Dow Jones Industrial Average is not an accurate gauge of the overall economy and market. And we have seen it a few times. I'm going to give you a few examples. Is that it only focuses on 30 large companies. So there are companies that represents the economy, smaller companies, medium companies that are not inside the Dow Jones Industrial Average. They only take 30 large companies. There are people who are not wearing Nikes. There are people who are not eating McDonald's. There are people who are not drinking Coca-Cola. So a lot of this is missed out. Of course, it is as close as possible a correlation to the economy. So 30 companies compared to its competitor, the S&P 500 fund that tracks how many companies? 500 of these companies. A lot of people say the S&P 500 is more accurate and paints a more overall average picture of the economy than the Dow Jones 30, which I can appreciate. And the second one, which is the biggest negative of Dow Jones Industrial Average, is that it's very simple. It takes a share price, it adds them together. And what is the problem with this? A company with a higher share price doesn't always, and I mean per share price, it doesn't always mean that it's a larger company. For example, if you go to Google Finance, I'll include the link below, and you look at Goldman Sachs, for example, a financial company. It has a very high share price, but it's a much smaller company than, say, Pfizer. And Pfizer have an average share price that's lower than Goldman Sachs. Guess which company has a higher weight in the Dow Jones Industrial Average? The one with the higher share price. So regardless of company size, as long as your share price is higher, that company is going to get a heavy weight inside the index, which is not representative, and we see problem recently. And the problem is, if you remember, Boeing 7, I don't remember the model, but Boeing had a few plane crash and they needed to recall some of the planes, and Boeing is inside the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The share price plummeted, and because it's one of the heavyweight, and because the share price were one of the highest, it has a very heavy weight despite being a smaller company. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average went down that day, and overall went down in a couple of months. This despite the fact that S&P 500 was going up and the economy was tracking very well. So that means that the Dow Jones was going down, and it didn't reflect the overall economy because of Boeing making up a large percentage of what it calculates. So this is one of the criticism that the Dow Jones has against some of its other competitors like the S&P 500, which takes the market capitalization into consideration, meaning if a company is a larger size, it gets more weight. And also the Nasdaq Composite that we will talk about in another video. So if you like to invest in the Dow Jones Industrial Average and you are a buy and hold investor, what are some of the research company that says, like Motley Fool says that the two ways to buy the Dow and track it and invest in it is one of it is the Vanguard fund that has the Dow Jones ETF that tracks the performance of the Dow, and it's a very low expense fund, excellent for investor who buy and hold because you don't want a large fee structure. So it's low fees, it tracks the Dow Jones via ETF, and Vanguard is one of the companies, largest companies, brokerage in United States, and this is one of the way to buy the Dow. I will include the link below. Have a look. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe below. I make videos about education on finance and how you can make money online.